politics over Sengol. Rahul Gandhi slams Prime Minister Narendra Modi on American soil.
I think if you sat Modi ji down next to God, Modi ji would start explaining to God how the universe works.
Rahul mocks the Prime Minister's Sashtang Dandavat before the Sengol.
BJP can't really discuss them, so then they have to do the whole scepter thing. Lying down and doing all that. Aren't you happy I'm not lying down?
The Prime Minister's counter-attack on the Congress party.
कांग्रेस ने भारत के गौरव के क्षण को भी अपने स्वार्थी विरोध की भेंट चढ़ा दिया।
Videshi twist to Desi fight over Naya Parliament. That's our top focus on India First.
The gloves are off ahead of the 2024 elections. Rahul Gandhi used words like one such specimen for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying words to the effect that Prime Minister thinks he knows everything. That's a disease. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur hit right back, saying Rahul Gandhi is habitually insulting India overseas. We get to the story. Also on India First, Union Home Minister Amit Shah has visited multiple trouble spots in strife on Manipur. He was in the border town of More along the India-Myanmar border. This is one of the worst impacted areas. He's held a series of meetings with stakeholders. Medal winners from Manipur have made an emphatic plea for peace. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get to the latest, but first as always, the headlines. Prime Minister Modi's biggest attack on the opposition yet over parliament boycott, says national pride is used for selfish politics by the opposition.
इनको गुस्सा इस बात का है कि गरीब का बेटा इनके भ्रष्टाचार पर, इनके परिवारवाद पर सवाल क्यों खड़े कर रहा है।
No incriminating evidence found on the World Wrestling Federation of India boss. Delhi police sources say the police may file their probe report in the next 15 days. Brijbhushan Sharan Singh dares the government, says will hang if proof found.
मुझ पर आरोप लगाने वालों, गंगा में मेडल बहाने से बृजभूषण सिंह को फांसी नहीं मिलेगी।
Mamata Banerjee stages a protest to back the wrestlers, accuses the Narendra Modi government of inaction because the accused is a BJP MP. Economy picks up pace in the January to March quarter. The Q4 GDP growth at 6.1% versus 4% a year ago. Shatters IMF and World Bank estimates. And it's the 5th edition of the India Today Conclave South 2-day mega summit in Thiruvananthapuram, saluting the powerhouse of India, analyzing the present and the future. Former Congress Member of Parliament Rahul Gandhi today launched a frontal attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi on foreign soil. Rahul Gandhi was speaking at Santa Clara at San Francisco. He is on a 6-day tour of the United States of America. He mocked the Prime Minister for the Prime Minister's Sashtang Dandavat, or going down on the floor to pay his respects to the holy Sengol before its installation in Parliament. The BJP has come out all guns blazing, with Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur accusing Rahul Gandhi of repeatedly insulting India when abroad.
These are distractions. The real issues in India, BJP can't really discuss them, so then they have to do the whole scepter thing.
It's been 3 days since Prime Minister Narendra Modi placed the Sengol or the scepter in the newly unveiled parliament. But there is no end to politics over Sengol. Rahul Gandhi has launched fresh salvos at the Modi government from American soil, calling the ritual at the parliament opening a distraction from the real issues. Rahul Gandhi mocked Prime Minister Modi for prostrating before the Sengol.
The Parliament House, these are distractions. The real issues in India are unemployment, price rise, spread of anger and hatred, crumbling education system, price of education, price of healthcare. These are the real issues. BJP can't really discuss them, so then they have to do the whole scepter thing, lying down and doing all that. So, aren't you happy I'm not lying down?
The BJP is breathing fire. Launching a counter-strike at Rahul, the BJP has accused him of insulting Indian traditions and culture on foreign soil.
भारत की धाक और मोदी जी की धमक पूरी दुनिया में बढ़ती है तो इस घमंडी घराने के घोचू घरौंदे की सनक पड़ जाती है। आज कैसे ये एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, स्वीकार नहीं कर पा रहे हैं कि दुनिया क्यों कह रही है कि मोदी जी ने ये साबित कर दिया कि डेमोक्रेसी कैसे डिलीवर कर सकती है। आज दुनिया ये क्यों कह रही है कि दुनिया की मोदी इज बॉस। तो इनको तो लगता है कि जो डायनेस्टी है वही डेमोक्रेसी है।
Rahul Gandhi has not done this for the first time. Last time he wanted foreign intervention into Indian soil. Today he's mocking Indian culture, Indian institutions. This man has time and again made claims and his hypocrisy should be called out. Today he talks about Dalits when the highest number of atrocities on Dalits is taking place in Rajasthan. He talks about tribals when the leader from his party said Rashtrapatini for our first tribal president. Today he talks about Muslims. The biggest riots against Muslims took place under the Congress government and they have done nothing about it. He talks about Sikhs when he has Jagdish Titler in his party. This is the double speak of Rahul Gandhi.
Lying down and doing all that.
Rahul Gandhi's attacks on Modi were not limited to Sengol. He also accused India of being an unsafe place for the minorities, specifically for Muslims.
As the Congress party, to make India a fair place. And we understand deeply that India today, in terms of its treatment of Dalits, tribals, poor people, minorities, is not a fair place.
Rahul's claim was countered by the All India Imam Organization chief.
जिन्होंने मुसलमानों की राजनीति करी, मुसलमानों को डरा के रखा, मुसलमान न डरा था, न मुसलमान डरा है, न मुसलमान डरने वाला है। मुसलमानों के नाम पर जो राजनीति हुई, अब मुसलमान समझ चुका है कि हमें इस्तेमाल किया गया, हमें डराया गया। तो मैं समझता हूं कि जिनको डर है खुद का, वो दूसरों को डरा रहे हैं।
The BJP too slammed Rahul, accusing him of defaming India whenever he goes abroad.
राहुल गांधी जी की हर विदेश यात्रा भारत का अपमान करने में कहीं पीछे नहीं रहती और इस बार की प्रायोजित ये विदेश यात्रा भी उसी दिशा में है जहां वो अपमान तो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन अंत में देश का अपमान करने से नहीं हटते।
Rahul even accused Modi of playing God.
I think if you sat Modi ji down next to God, Modi ji would start explaining to God how the universe works.
With the BJP going all guns blazing at Rahul Gandhi, political temperatures are rising ahead of a long election season that will end with the ultimate battle of 2024. Bureau Report, India Today.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi hit back at the Congress during his rally at Ajmer. He presented the report card of his government's achievements in the past 9 years. He hit out at the Congress, accusing the party of looting India without discrimination. Let's listen in.
3 दिन पहले आपने देखा है, भारत को नया संसद भवन मिला है। आपने टीवी पर देखा, मैं आपसे पूछता हूं, ये नया संसद भवन आपको गर्व हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? आपका माथा ऊंचा हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? हमारे देश की शान बढ़ने का आपको आनंद हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? लेकिन कांग्रेस और इसके जैसे कुछ दलों ने इस पर भी राजनीति का कीचड़ उछाला। कई पीढ़ियों के जीवन में ऐसे अवसर एक बार ही आते हैं, लेकिन कांग्रेस ने भारत के गौरव के क्षण को भी अपने स्वार्थी विरोध की भेंट चढ़ा दिया। कांग्रेस ने 60,000 श्रमिकों के परिश्रम का, देश की भावना और आकांक्षाओं का अपमान किया है। 60,000 मजदूरों के पसीने को उन्होंने लात मारी है। उनको गुस्सा इस बात का है कि गरीब का बेटा इनके अहंकार से आगे आड़ा कैसे आ रहा है, अड़ा कैसे हुआ है। इनको गुस्सा इस बात का है कि गरीब का बेटा इनकी मनमानी चलने क्यों नहीं दे रहा। इनको गुस्सा इस बात का है कि गरीब का बेटा इनके भ्रष्टाचार पर, इनके परिवारवाद पर सवाल क्यों खड़े कर रहा है। जब संकट हल करने में, पानी से जुड़ी चुनौतियों को समाप्त करने में कांग्रेस सरकार कभी आगे बढ़कर काम नहीं करती। कांग्रेस को सिर्फ झूठ बोलना आता है और आज भी कांग्रेस यही कर रही है। 2014 से पहले देश में क्या स्थिति थी? पूरे देश में जनता भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध सड़क पर उतरी हुई थी। कांग्रेस सरकार सीमा पर सड़कें बनाने से भी डरती थी। महिलाओं के विरुद्ध अपराध चरम पर थे। प्रधानमंत्री के ऊपर सुपर पावर थी। कांग्रेस सरकार रिमोट कंट्रोल से चल रही थी। अपने कुशासन को ढकने के लिए कांग्रेस ने एक और नया फॉर्मूला खोज लिया है। ये फॉर्मूला है झूठी गारंटियों का। राजस्थान के किसान और नौजवान तो इसके भुक्तभोगी हैं। ये लोग 10 दिन में गारंटी पूरी करने वाले थे। याद है ना? ये गारंटी याद है ना? उन्होंने पिछली बार दी थी। 10 दिन में पूरे करने वाले थे। आप मुझे बताइए, जो कांग्रेस ने कहा था, जो वादा किया था, वो निभाया क्या? वो पूरा किया क्या? जो कहा वो किया क्या? भाई और बहनों, ये ऐसी गारंटियां देते हैं जिनको अगर अमल में लाया जाए तो राज्य और देश दिवालिया हो जाएगा। कांग्रेस सरकार के समय गरीबों को जो घर मिलते थे वो 4 दीवारों के खंडहर बन के रह जाते थे, उससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं होते थे। ऐसा इसलिए होता था क्योंकि कांग्रेस गरीब के घरों को भी लूट लेती थी। कांग्रेस की गलत नीतियों का सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान अगर किसी को उठाना पड़ा तो वो देश के छोटे किसान हैं। हमने छोटे किसानों के हितों को ध्यान में रखकर पिछले 9 वर्ष में कृषि बजट में लगभग 6 गुना वृद्धि की है। भाजपा सरकार में पहली बार किसानों को लागत का 1.5 गुना समर्थन मूल्य तय हुआ। पहली बार किसानों को बैंक खाते में उनकी उपज का पैसा मिलना सुनिश्चित हुआ। पहली बार किसानों को इनाम के रूप में राष्ट्रीय मंडी मिली है। पहली बार किसी फसल बीमा योजना से किसानों को सवा लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक का मुआवजा मिला है।
And joining me now with the latest on this escalating political slugfest is India Today's Rahul Srivastav. Rahul, what does one make of the language being used in the current discourse? For example, Rahul Gandhi describing the Prime Minister as a specimen or using words to the effect that this world is too big and complicated for any one person to know. That's a disease.
Gaurav, I think this is a battle to eventually decide who is the boss. So, amid all the nations you may roam, but there is no politics like home. I think this is a battle I take from what the Prime Minister got called in Australia the boss. I think the battle between Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi is peaking. And I think both are deliberately setting up a battle between each other. Rahul Gandhi to push aside all the other claimants, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi finds more comfortable to take on Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party vis-a-vis the BJP, because that's the contest where the BJP prefers. I think it is very simply, if I describe it, what Prime Minister is doing is targeting what has worked for the Congress party in Karnataka, the freebies, the offers, the promises that the Congress made in Karnataka that did well for the Congress on the ground, and the Prime Minister is demolishing that. I think language
Rahul,
used by
one language. Second, the targeting of Sengol and CR Keswan, and we've just put out, what CR Keswan, of course, now a member of the BJP, is also saying. He says we're mocking the dharm and insulting the sacred Sengol on what Rahul Gandhi said about Prime Minister's Sashtang Dandavat.
See, Gaurav, the language used by politicians varies in terms of their supporting camps, I think. And eventually it is the voting public, which is going to decide whose language was electorally magnetic and which was not. I think what Rahul Gandhi is doing in the US, what the Prime Minister is doing, is a very interesting battle, if you allow me time. You see, the Prime Minister had a very successful 3-nation tour to Papua New Guinea, Japan and Australia, in which there was the Indo-Pacific leaders meet, the Pacific leader meet, and also the G7. Now, if you see what is happening, that BJP is pasting the Prime Minister diplomatic successes in the domestic arena.
Yes.
And the Congress is taking the domestic politics in the international arena to beat that imagery. Now, interestingly, Rahul Gandhi attacks Prime Minister on foreign soil, primarily because of the kind of support in the last few days Prime Minister got in Australia and those 3-nation tour. But I think it has got a future connect also. From June 21st to 24, Prime Minister is visiting the US. It's his first state visit in 9 years. The first two, Obama, Donald Trump, were not state visits. This is a state visit. Means that 21 getting salute at the White House, dinner, and all those other trappings, staying at the Blair House on the Pennsylvania Avenue and others. The Prime Minister has a Chicago he has got a public address. I think it's that battle who is the boss. I think the domestic elements being taken abroad and abroad elements being brought into India. I think it's a very
for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. We will continue to track this story closely. I now want to shift focus to the other big story we're tracking here, and that's the uneasy calm or the current situation in Manipur. The state appears to be sitting on a ticking time bomb. Ethnic tensions are simmering between the Kukis and the Meiteis in the state. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is in Manipur. He's visited several violence-hit areas, including More along the India-Myanmar border. He visited the worst impacted areas, the districts in the state, interacted with multiple stakeholders. The question remains, will the government succeed in dialing down tensions? Indrajit Kundu is on ground zero. He sent us this report from Churachandpur.
Manipur on edge, a state gripped by ethnic violence. The cycle of tension started on April the 27th in Churachandpur. India Today's Indrajit Kundu and Taposh Beri on Wednesday headed out to the epicenter of the violence. The route from Imphal to Churachandpur was heavily guarded, the destruction very hard to miss. India Today found a village that has almost been entirely razed and gutted.
Barely 50 kilometers outside capital Imphal, and these are the telltale signs of the kind of violence that has freshly erupted over the past 1 week in Manipur. You can see here burnt houses, charred vehicles that are still lying here.
Churachandpur district is home to the ethnic minority Kuki community. The Kukis constitute the dominant population in this district. The Indigenous Tribals Leaders Forum, or the ITLF, which is spearheading the tribal movement in Manipur now, is also based in this district. Any possible solution to the ongoing crisis perhaps lies in this very district. The reason why Home Minister Amit Shah himself flew to Churachandpur on Tuesday to personally speak to the aggrieved Kuki tribal leadership.
The Meitei community is trying to portray to the rest of the world that it is, a religious war between Hindus and Christians, but it is not so. The issue is more of a land issue. I don't know why the BJP government do not say, the Chief Minister Biren Singh till now, because he's not doing a great job.
While the Kukis and Meiteis are divided on many issues, the trigger for the latest violence was a High Court verdict directing the state government to include the majority Meitei community in the scheduled tribes list. The Kuki tribals want complete administrative separation from Manipur, a demand rejected by the Biren Singh government.
We demanded total separation from Manipur because we no longer think that we are safe under the Meitei community anymore. So many lives have been lost, so many churches has been burned, so many villages are been burned.
On Wednesday, Amit Shah visited More and Kangpokpi for more talks with civil society representatives.
Home Minister Amit Shah, who was in the state, has sought 15 days to bring some sort of a resolution. However, with both sides taking a hardline stance, clearly people in Manipur are in for a long haul. With camera person Tapas Bairi, Indrajit for India Today in Manipur.
11 award-winning sportspersons from Manipur, including Mirabai Chanu, Anita Chanu, Kunjarani Devi, Sarita Devi, Sandhya Devi, they've written to the Union Home Minister Amit Shah and asked him to ensure that peace prevails. I want to quickly cut across to India Today's Indrajit Kundu joining us from Ground Zero. Indrajit, the Home Minister sought 15 days' time. What can be achieved in these 15 days given the heightened tensions between the Meiteis and the Kukis?
Well, Gaurav, mistrust between these two communities, these two, ethnic communities, very important ethnic communities in Manipur, is at its highest level at this point in time. And therefore, what Amit Shah did was bring all stakeholders on the table over the past 48 hours. His message was loud and clear. People must shun violence across the board. Just a short while back, Chief Minister Biren Singh has also come up with a statement saying, appealing that all civilians who now have, arms and ammunition. In fact, we have been reporting how in the past few days, several armories have been looted. So he has appealed to everybody to give up arms. Okay. And the task is clearly cut out for security agencies, the army, the central paramilitary forces, and the police. Because unless, of course, there is a peace, one cannot hold these peace talks. But what has made, this entire process very difficult, there has to be a deft political maneuvering on part of the central government. On one hand, the Kuki community says that they just cannot live in Manipur right now, and we need a political separation.
That's the question I was coming to. You spoke to representatives of the Kuki organizations. They said they want a separate entity and they do not want to be a part of Manipur. The sportspersons have also written to the Chief Minister and to the Union Home Minister saying the Kuki terrorists are challenging the integrity of Manipur by killing people and burning houses. This kind of language, this kind of terminology, and this kind of tension between the two. What's the common middle ground?
Dr. John. Well, that would be the most difficult job, Gaurav, to find a common middle ground at this point in time, because both sides are sticking to their ground and they have taken a hardline stance. So it will require a lot of political maneuvering. But before that, before the dialogue process can begin, because it seems like going to be a long haul, it requires a political solution. But on ground, law and order situation must prevail. The writ of the government and law and order must prevail. Manipur, has gone through curfew for the last 1 month. There is ban on internet. Essential commodity prices have shot up. Potato is selling for 80 rupees per kilo. Petrol is selling in black from 150 rupees to 300 rupees. And in a sense, we are going back to a decade back in Manipur, where we have seen similar scenes where there are road blockades, essential commodities not being allowed into various locations. And that seems to be the case. So are we heading back to those dark period in Manipur where we have seen long amount of conflict? That is the fear amongst people. So we'll have to wait and watch very carefully as to how things unfold.
I'll come back to you for more. Stay safe for the moment. Many thanks. I now want to shift focus and take you to China, where hundreds of minority Hui Muslim protesters have clashed with the police in the southwest China's Yunnan province after authorities tried to demolish parts of a 13th century mosque. Authorities in China insist 4 minarets and the dome of the mosque, this of course they claim was constructed later, are illegal and there are court orders to demolish them. However, in this Muslim majority area, hundreds have clashed with the riot police, and the riot police in full riot gear on the rampage. Several stone pelters and rioters have since been detained. Now authorities in China have given a deadline to the protesters to either surrender or face consequences.
Hundreds of armed policemen in riot gear and batons took to the streets outside a 13th century mosque in China's Yunnan province after minority Muslim protesters pelted stones and prevented authorities from carrying out the demolition. The demolition was intended of 4 minarets and 1 dome deemed unauthorized and an illegal construction. The minority Hui Muslim protesters gathered in large numbers outside the mosque in the Yunnan province of southwest China. The protesters succeeded in temporarily stopping administration officers from carrying out the demolition drive at the illegal portions of the mosque. Authorities have said that they were following a 2020 court order that had ruled that 4 minarets and a dome had been illegally added to the 13th century structure. The court ruled that the illegal structures should be demolished, prompting authorities to carry out the court orders. After violent clashes, additional forces have now been deployed in the area. In fact, authorities in Tonghai have pasted notices ordering an investigation into the severe disruption of social management and order in the area. The protesters and rioters have been directed to surrender by the June 6th deadline, following which harsh action will be taken against criminals and rioters. The police are using CCTV cameras to identify stone pelters and rioters. The action follows a clear directive from Chinese President Xi Jinping to sinicize Chinese ethnic minorities, that is, to convert them into Chinese form and shape. There are close to 1 million Uyghur Muslims in Chinese concentration camps called re-education centers since 2017. The Hui Muslim minority speaks Mandarin and is usually considered closer to the Han Chinese majority. However, there is a massive crackdown and an unspecified number of protesters and rioters have been detained. Bureau Report, India Today.
If you've noticed, Pakistan claims to talk for the welfare of Muslims across the world. And Pakistan hasn't uttered a word, not about the Uyghur Muslims, not about the Hui Muslims of China. After all, Pakistan needs the Chinese money. That is all we have for you on the broadcast this evening. Many thanks for watching. Coming up next is Business Today with Abha Bakaya.
India Today Conclave South 2023, India's biggest ideas fest. Listen to Pinarayi Vijayan, Chief Minister Kerala, Mallikarjun Kharge, Amitabh Kant,